The new Hearthstone mini-set just came out. There were a ton of bugs. A lot of them have been fixed. And now I wanted to go over what some of the standout decks have been. If you're looking for a cool deck to play, hopefully one of these interests you. I'm just going to be going over 4 decks here, and I chose decks that had new cards. There's a lot of good decks without any new cards, but I want to go over some of the decks that have new cards that are doing well. This is one of the best decks that I have seen. I think it's going to increase in popularity as people realize how good it is. This is a Holy Light Ray Naga Paladin. It's running 2 of the new cards. We got Myrmidon in here, which is really cool because pretty much you could just keep casting Maki Roll on it and drawing cards. That is fantastic. We also have the Light Ray, where also really good synergy with Maki Roll. Every time you use it, it's going to discount the Light Ray, but not only that, it's pretty much any card is going to discount it, pretty much making your Light Ray a 0 mana 5/5 taunt, and then you can also buff it up and stuff like that. Some other standout cards here. You're probably all familiar with Holy Paladin already. I made a video on one of the older lists, and this one has Queen Ashara. So when you use Queen Ashara, you could choose a relic that ends up just being a copy of the last spell you cast. So you end up using Queen Ashara, and then you pretty much get a free Garden's Grace, or really whatever you need. Maybe it's an equality, maybe it's an extra Maki Roll if you need a little bit more heal. But you can, do Smite, Garden's Grace, and then with Ashara's Treasure, a 3rd Garden's Grace. Also doesn't have to be on Smite. Maybe you just stick a minion and slap them in the face. Ton of great removal with the Righteous Defense, with Pyromancer Equality, Pyromancer City Tax. Pyromancer Maki Roll is also great. You just constantly heal your Pyromancer, and that'll clear the board. Samuro Equality, just buffing up Samuro to be relatively large and then smacking. It's all really, really good. I'm not sure if this is going to be the best list. I feel like maybe we don't actually use Myrmidon. I do like Myrmidon with Maki Roll, but I often just want to Maki Roll my face, not the Myrmidon. So maybe this ends up being a one of or something like that. But I am absolutely loving the Light Rays in this list. Myrmidon is fun. I have used it to cycle, maybe if you're against more of a control deck, but yeah. Cariel, honestly, just like a nutty card. I think this needs to get nerfed in some way or another. Yeah, you can run a Viper and destroy it, but I don't know. I kind of wish Viper wasn't a beast, so I can run Viper in Hunter decks. Yeah, this deck is good. Really good at just, surviving for a long time and then hitting your opponent with a big minion, maybe Smite or maybe something else. Next deck I want to talk about is actually just a Control Warrior. Now, these used to run, what's his name, Kazakhstan? I don't know, that big dragon that would refill your hand with treasures or your deck with treasures. But this build is not running it. We're actually running 2 more new cards here. We got Tidal Revenant in addition to the Igneous Lava Gorger. Both just fantastic cards. In this archetype, you're going to be able to dredge and get armor equal to its cost. So maybe you just want to get the dredge effect. It's still 4 mana 3/5 with taunt. We're very Senjin, very nice. Being able to choose what card you get next could be really good. Plus getting a little bit of armor, sometimes a lot of armor. And then also the Tidal Revenant. 8 mana 5/8 with the battle cry, deal 5 damage, gain 8 armor. So gaining 8 armor, huge. A little bit of removal, huge. Also can go face, situationally good, but usually you're probably going to want to use this to clear a minion. But 8 armor is just absolutely massive. Nelly kind of getting a stealth buff because your opponent can't really see what you get off of the Nelly anymore. So maybe you get Smite and a couple big pirates. We also have Alex here, which can burn your opponent's face. Raid Boss Onyxia, which is just a massive control tool. And then a ton of armor that you can just constantly be gaining here, which is really good because you might be running into a lot of decks that just do massive damage, maybe like Wig Priest, maybe Mine Rogue. Might have a hard time against Boar Priest. I think Boar Priest is just a hard deck to deal with. I didn't include it in this list because I don't think it has any new cards. Yeah, an absolute pain to deal with Boar Priest, but it's super high skill cap, so you probably won't see it unless you're super high legend, or at least you won't see a good player unless you're super high legend. Really fun warrior deck here. I kind of wish we saw more usage of the Colossals, the new Colossus, Neptulon, and Ozumat, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll find their place at some point, but probably not. Speaking of decks that just do massive damage that is hard to deal with, we do have this Forsaken Mine Rogue. You've probably seen a ton of this. This just recently emerged, I think about a few days before the mini set. At least that's the first time I saw it. And with the mini set, we do have a new card, which is why I have included this, is the Shatter Shambler. Your next minion costs 1 less, but when played dies immediately, which is really good. That's kind of what you want with this sort of mine rogue. You end up just playing these naval mines. They deal damage to your opponent. Only 4 damage, not a big deal, right? Well, you play Snowfall Graveyard first, which makes your death rattles trigger twice for 3 turns. You play this, maybe you have the Shambler down, maybe you have Forsaken Lieutenants down. You play the naval mine, your Forsaken's gonna turn into that. It's gonna do 8 damage to your opponent. Kill the Forsaken, another 8 damage. Maybe you had a counterfeit blade out, you break that, another 8 damage. Then you also have Tooth of Nefarian, which can go face and do damage. You have Wicked Stab, which can also go face and do more damage. Sketchy Information, so you can consistently be drawing these minions that you want. Mostly the Lieutenant and the Naval Mine sort of combo synergy. Wildpaw Gnolls are going to be cheap because of the way Maestro works. You show as a different class, so anytime you draw a rogue class, it discounts your Gnolls. You start off as a different class, just trade a lot, discount your Gnoll, get very cheap 4 or 5 rushes. Very good deck. Not sure if it's better than the Test sort of rogue. It's not even said, what's it called? Burgle Rogue? Thief Rogue? Probably Thief Rogue. Thief Rogue, very good. But this one had a new card, and it's kind of a new archetype, but I think a lot of people hate it, right? I played on stream, and people were like, why are you doing this? This one I think is actually the most surprising. Very similar to just an old Demon Hunter deck. This one is only running Fossil Fanatic, but Demon Hunter kind of died after the most recent nerfs to it. Not a lot of people were playing it. I didn't really see any of it on ladder. It just didn't seem to dish out the damage like it used to, obviously, because of the nerfs. But with some new additions here, looking like might be having a comeback. I got spanked by one of these live earlier today because I just couldn't deal with the Fossil Fanatic. I just didn't have removal. I think that was kind of lucky for them, maybe unlucky for me. But basically, anytime your hero attacks, you draw a Fell Spell, which is, you can almost attack pretty much any time, right? Very easy to attack with this deck. You're always having a weapon or the 1-mana hero power. And then you also have Multi-Strike, which means you can attack twice, draw 2 cards. Very, very nice. We have a lot of Fell Spells in here. The Predation, I've never actually read, is that Predation? Am I saying that right? You got Fury, you got Chaos Strike, Fell Barrage, Multi-Strike. Pretty much everything is a Fell Spell in here. And then you get to replay that all with the Jace, a really fun card. We also have Zillag of the Abyss, 7-mana 3/6, the Colossal. This rarely ever saw any play, but pulling out those stalks does get a lot of damage on your opponent, especially if they don't have a board. These are all just going to go in your opponent's face. They can't deal with the stalks. They're gonna have a good, no, they're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a good time. There are a lot of other cool decks out there, but those are the top 4 I wanted to go over. This is a really cool list that uses the Kraken Bane, and then we can use Bran, use the Kraken Bane, a little extra damage, right? A fun one to play. And then also this big Paladin, which I did make a video on already, does run front lines, and also Neptulon. So yeah, hopefully more decks surface that are pretty good, running Ozumat, Neptulon, and more of the new cards. But honestly, it doesn't seem like the mini set is that impactful, at least not yet. Hopefully things shape up. That's about it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying Hearthstone. I am personally enjoying Hearthstone quite a bit. I do want it to be a little bit more board centric. I think this is still probably my favorite expansion in like the past couple years. Maybe it's just because I took a long break and got over my sort of burnout. But it was feeling a little bit more board centric. Now with Rogue popping up and like Boar Priest, it's a little bit less interactive. And I like it more when it's board based, when board matters, when you have to trade, you have to conserve your AoE removal. Not just everyone has a ton of removal and then they just OTK you. So hopefully that ends up happening. But I think this set is a good step in the right direction. Maybe, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully I don't eat my words. What do you guys think about Hearthstone right now? Did you like it more before the mini set? Did the mini set even matter? What do you think of this expansion compared to the last few? Let me know. I'm quite curious. And then yeah, feels good to be back making Hearthstone content. I love you guys. Thank you so much for pressing the like button and subscribing. I appreciate that. And good luck on ladder. Stay hydrated. I'll see you next time.